everybody for coming out. Means a lot. I'm Farah. I'm the youngest. Dad also called me Lil Buckwheat. Check 1, 2. Do I need to use my EI voice? Yes. All right.
Tell she's a mother.
These last few years have been especially challenging for our dad, to say the least. In the span of a year, while struggling with cancer, he lost both of his parents. Dad was very quiet about his cancer diagnosis because he wanted to process it on his own terms and didn't want to be treated any differently. Having such a positive attitude definitely helped him have as long and fulfilling of a life as he did. He wore his rose-colored glasses right up to the end. In January of 2023, 1 week after our Papa's funeral, Dad was hospitalized because he had lost a feeling in his legs due to a tumor on his spine. He had major spinal surgery and had to learn how to re-walk. With his determination, he was walking and out of rehab at the end of May. The only reason I knew about Dad's diagnosis was because I insisted he use the proper medical term for what was happening. He kept beating around the bush. You know, it's just a lump. They had to take it off. I don't like to use medical terms because it makes people worry. Dad, tell me what's going on. Dad spent the summer healing at the cottage with my sister Jasmine and his new puppy. His new puppy Sundance, also known as Sunny. As difficult as it was for Dad to get up and move around, having Sunny helped motivate him to do so. In the fall, Dad was sad as he had to vacate his place in Bala, a town he had come to love very much. He often spoke of how much he enjoyed Bala and spending time with the people there. He continued his role at the Bala Legion as Sergeant at Arms, which I also believe helped him to stay positive. In the fall, Dad moved to Bracebridge. He started attending pool Pilates and taking Sunny to the dog park multiple times a week. He kept getting stronger and stronger. Sadly, in November, we lost our grandmother. In late February, Dad told me he had a small fleck of something on his liver and had been waiting weeks for the urologist to call him back. At this point on, Dad slowly declined. Sunny started getting stronger and pulled Dad's back out. Dad wasn't able to get him to the dog park and he knew he couldn't get him enough exercise, so as much as it saddened him, he gave him back to his friend Brad so he could live a full puppy life. Sunny has now won many medals and championships as a show dog all over North America. I guess we know who Dad's favorite child is. At this point, Dad's main motivation to get up and get moving was to drive my niece Emily to school, pick her up from school, and he would often pick her up and take her to work, or pick her up from work. At the beginning of May, I accompanied my dad to a doctor's appointment where I found out he'd had not just a fleck, but 2 lumps the size of his fist on his liver. He was positive. We still had hopes that when we saw the cancer team on May 27th, that there would be something to do to slow down the spreading on the liver. Dad never made it to that appointment. The last week and a half, he declined very quickly. On Saturday, May 25th, Dad decided to go to the hospital by ambulance to check on things and to get something to manage the pain. I told him that if they relieved some of the pressure and gave him some pain meds, that hopefully we could make it out to the cottage. Needless to say, that didn't happen. I promise I'm almost done. Saturday night, Dad was comfortable and in good spirits. Even after he'd been given the news that the cancer had taken over his body and that he didn't have long, he still refused to be told a timeline. He wanted to fight till the end. Even after that, he was reminiscing about many musical memories, most of which included his buddies John and Joe. He talked about how much he had playing with them. I think his favorite memory was about his song Every Day. His face lit up when he talked about performing at the Key. That night, Shallon came for a visit to see Dad, and then later on Brad came. They shared many laughs as they reminisced together. Brad stayed the night while I left to get a few hours of sleep. Thankfully, I woke at 4:30 a.m. when Jasmine messaged me about her flight details. Once I was awake, there was no getting back to sleep, so I decided to go back to the hospital. Dad and Brad awoke around 5:30, and we had a few more laughs. Thankfully, Dad didn't suffer long. With music to his ears, Brad and I said our goodbyes. Dad wouldn't have wanted anyone to have any regrets. He was a proud person and didn't want people to see him in pain. As much as I miss him, I'm glad he's not suffering anymore. I know it was so hard for him not living the quality of life that he had before. One of the last things he said to me the night before was, "I would have loved to see my kids and grandkids grow. Aside from that, I don't have any regrets." Dad, thank you for wearing your rose-colored glasses and showing what a difference positivity can make. Thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing your love for music with us. The endless support, advice, always trying to be cautious with your wording, and most of all, the laughs.
Darryl!